It's been a little while since we had a water rights advisory work group meeting, so we've got a fair amount of information to pass along today, but we were hoping to do that pretty efficiently so that you all are not with us for an extended period of time this morning. But meeting logistics, what we're going to do is Jade's going to run through our agenda after I finish here, but what we're going to do this time, I think, as we progress through the agenda is to stop after each presentation and gives opportunity for folks to ask questions of us. And then, of course, if there's something you miss along the way, there will be a final question and answer at the end of the meeting. If y'all would please make sure that you keep yourselves muted. And if you've got a question you need to ask after each of the presentations, you're definitely will need to unmute yourself, and you're welcome to turn your camera on. But we ask for cameras off and microphones muted while our presenters are providing their information so that there's not any distractions for you all. And with that, I will pass it off to Jade to do a quick run through on our agenda, and I'll be back. Thanks.
Thanks, Kim. Good morning, everyone. This is Jade Rutledge, and I'll just quickly go through the agenda. It is really unchanged since the typical agenda. So we'll start with Kim just going to give a little update for the program, and then Kathy Alexander will give a technical update. Ruth Takeda will give a legal update. Bert Galvan will give a permitting and availability section update for water rights, and then Jose Pepe will give a water master update, and then at the end we'll give more of an open Q&A session. So with that, I will pass it back over to Kim just to see if there's any program updates.
Sure. The meat of our presentation today is going to be in some of the other updates we have, but just general program update. For those of you all who have seen our new executive director, Kelly Keel, present at conferences and different venues, our agency as a whole, including the Water Rights Program, is really focused on a back to basics approach, making sure we're looking at our core mission, which in our case is permitting and enforcement through the water master programs, and looking at what it takes to get that core mission done, the structure of our work, how we're interacting with stakeholders, and then also making sure that we have the resources to do the job we need to do. At the same time, we're also listening to a lot of discussion as we approach the next legislative session. So we'll be watching those types of things to make sure that there's not an impact on resources that we need to communicate. But what we're remaining focused on for now is really our core mission of permitting and enforcement through our water master programs, and the staffing, funding, and resources and data that are really needed to do that. And we're in the process right now of kind of a hard look at what our current priorities are, and making sure those are structured to accomplish those core functions that we have. And with that, what I will do is pass it on to Kathy Alexander for the technical update. Thanks.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I have a couple of updates today. On the technical and data front, we will be doing our annual refresh of the water availability models on our website over the next couple of months. So if anyone has anything they would like to make us aware of related to the models, you can go ahead and reach out to me directly and let me know. We're also going to be adding 2023 water use data to our water rights viewer. There's some really exciting news on that front. During FY25, we will be updating our viewer platform, and at the end of that process, a user will be able to download the complete set of statewide water use data directly from the viewer instead of having to go through a GIS. We're also in the process of finalizing a new application form for temporary permits. Basically, we've taken the existing application form and reduced it to only those items relevant to temporary applications. As part of those updates to the form, we will also be requiring pre-application meetings for these types of projects because we found that the pre-application meetings result in more complete applications when they're submitted. One of our other initiatives is taking a hard look at the post-notice process. We've seen an uptick in contested cases in recent years, as well as more requests for public meetings or contested case hearings. And as background, once a case is referred to the State Office of Administrative Hearings, that process can require a very significant amount of staff time, and that can have cascading effects on timeframes for other aspects of the permitting process. One example of the things that we've been doing is being flexible on timeframes during the applicant comment period on a draft permit, because that can facilitate discussions between the applicant and those who are interested in an application. We're also pausing agenda setting while discussions amongst the participants occur. After the public notice process is complete, TCEQ also has an alternate dispute resolution process that can reduce costs and resources and often lead to a more enduring, collaborative, and win-win type of settlement. Applicants and protestants can utilize the TCEQ process, and there's information available on our website in more detail, or they can conduct negotiations using their own process. And TCEQ staff have been participating in these types of negotiations and or settlement processes when requested by the participants because they do conserve our resources and achieve better outcomes. As an example, in fiscal year 23, we had 131 pending applications with 21 contested and 8 settled through some type of negotiation or ADR type process. For fiscal year 24, we ended the year with 110 pending applications. Of those, 10 are currently contested, but 11 were settled through some type of post-notice process. Of the 10 currently in our contested bucket, 6 are in some type of negotiations. Another part of our post-notice process can also be a public meeting if one is requested. Our next scheduled public meeting is September 24th in Edna, Texas, for the Lavaca River Authority's application 13728 in the Lavaca Basin. The application and public meeting notice are available on our pending applications webpage if you'd like more information on that. After a public meeting, we typically provide a written response to public comments as part of our efforts to increase transparency in the water rights permitting process. We currently have 2 response to public comment documents pending, and we're looking at ways to first add value for the public, but also to streamline that process. So if anyone has any thoughts on that they'd like to share, please feel free to reach out to Kim and I and let us know. I guess I'll pause here. That's all I have. If anyone has any questions before I turn it over to Ruth to talk in more detail about what's up in the legal arena.
I don't see any questions, so.
Okay, Ruth, you're up.
So to speak. Thank you, Kathy. Good morning. As Jade mentioned, I am Ruth Takita here in the Office of Legal Services at the TCEQ. We do have a lot of items to update you on. First, internally, the Office of Legal Services Director Erin Chancellor left the agency last month, and the Environmental Law Division Deputy Director Charmaine Backens is serving as interim director currently here in our office. As far as updates, I'm going to start with the Court of Appeals. We have a case pending there. I think the last update was quite some time ago, but just to refresh your memory, the case was heard at the Travis County District Court level in September of 2023. The decision was issued by that court on March 28th this year and ordered reversal. The intervener in the case, GBRA, or the Guadalupe Blanco River Authority, filed a motion to clarify. An amended decision was issued on May 7th, reversing and remanding to TCEQ, along with a letter explaining the court's reasoning. The court's letter set forth findings adverse to TCEQ, so both TCEQ and GBRA appealed that decision to the Third Court of Appeals. The case has been transferred as of August 28th to the new 15th Court of Appeals, and the opening briefs are due September 27th. At the Travis County District Court level, we have two cases pending there now. One is the City of Wichita Falls. That was for permit 13404. A group of protestants has appealed the commission decision. The SOA hearing was held in August of 2023. The proposal for decision issued in December of 2023, with exceptions following in the spring. The proposal for decision was reviewed at agenda on May 10th. The commission rejected the PFD recommendation of denial and accordingly revised findings of facts, conclusions of law, and the ordering provision. The commission voted to grant the application and issued the permit. The order was signed in May. A motion for rehearing was timely filed, was overruled by operation of law in July, and a petition was filed in Travis County District Court on August 21st, alleging violation of the Administrative Procedure Act and requesting that the order be reversed. The agency was served on August 30th. And so the style of that case caption begins with a plaintiff named William Justin O'Malley and 22 other plaintiffs versus the TCEQ. The cause number in Travis County District Court is D like in David -1-GN-24-005355. I know that's a mouthful, but I wanted to provide that information just in case you're taking notes. The second case pending at the Travis County District Court is the City of Corpus Christi. That's permit number 13675. There were, let me just backpedal to a little bit. It's a request for a hearing on that application, which was reviewed on March 28th, that agenda. The commission voted to deny all hearing requests, and one of those interested persons filed the lawsuit. The commission signed its order on April 17th. A motion for rehearing was filed in May, overruled by operation of law in June, and the petition filed on July 11th alleged that the hearing request was wrongfully denied, the application wrongfully approved, and the permit wrongfully issued. Therefore, the plaintiff is requesting reversal of all three of those actions. And in the alternative, if the court affirms the hearing request denial, the plaintiff is still requesting reversal of TCEQ's application approval and permit issuance. The petition was served on July 17th, and the TCEQ filed its answer on August 1st. The cause number of that case is D like in David -1-GN-24-004293. Again, a mouthful, I know, but that is the information. I could provide something in the chat if you're interested in visiting the court link to pull up either of those cases. We had a couple more cases heard at SOA. First is San Antonio Water Systems for permit 13098. The hearing was held in April 2023. The proposal for decision issued in November of 2023, with exceptions and replies following later in February of this year. It was reviewed at agenda on May 22nd. The commission accepted the PFD recommendation to grant the application, but rejected certain findings of fact, conclusions of law, and an ordering provision regarding the protestants' water rights, because the commission found that those water rights were not granted based on the use or availability of the applicant's return flows, which was a key issue. And The permit was issued, and the ED directed to require that an exhibit be incorporated into the permittee's accounting plan to address travel time and channel losses. The order was signed in June, mailed. Motions for rehearing were filed in July. They were overruled by operation of law in August, and we'll keep you posted on anything that develops after that date on our next meeting. The Port of Corpus Christi Authority's application for permit number 13630 also went through the contested case hearing process. The hearing was held in September of 2023 with the PFD, or proposal for decision, issued in January of this year, followed by exceptions and replies. It was reviewed at agenda on June 26th. The commission adopted the PFD, which recommended granting the application, and issued a revised permit, modifying special condition 5B as recommended in the PFD. So that order was signed in July and mailed. The motion for rehearing was filed on August 12th. The motion for rehearing may be overruled by operation of law later this month. And lastly, we had a couple of cases that went to SOA. One is still pending, the other one settled. The city of Lubbock was for permit number 5921. That settled after the preliminary hearing that was held in February of this year. And there's a pending case that's being handled by a colleague of mine that hasn't had a preliminary hearing yet at SOA. It is a petition filed under Texas Water Code section 11.041 regarding a denial of water complaint, and it's from the city of McAllen. The SOA docket number is 582-24-16336, and that remains pending. And late breaking news, we received a petition at the end of last week that's been styled as a petition to cancel a water right. That petition is currently being evaluated. As you know, it's fresh breaking news. So I will pause. I spoke quickly and still probably took too much time and droned on. But if you have any questions or want information about our case numbers on any of these cases, please speak now or send a chat, and I will try to exercise my technical abilities to provide the information requested. Hearing none, I will pass this on to Bert. Thank you all.
Ruth.
Yes.
Oh, I just said thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Bergal Vaughn, manager for the Water Rights Permitting and Availability section. And I'll have a few slides for you guys. Let's see. So here's a snapshot from late August of the total pending applications at the time. We had a total of 110 applications in-house. Now, water rights do change. The applications change all the time on a daily basis. So these numbers may have changed slightly since then. As you can see, diversion point move applications are the largest group in-house currently, followed by fast track applications and new appropriation applications. And out of those 110 pending applications, 10 are currently contested. Now, looking back to 2014, our target for total pending contested applications is 125. And since early 2021, we have been on target. And at the end of the FY24, we were at 100 applications in-house for uncontested applications. Now, for the fiscal year 24, we received 53 new applications and we completed 73. And in FY24, we had 42 applications go administrative complete. And as of August 28th, when we run the numbers, we had 26 applications pending in administrative review. There are some complexities associated with many of those 26 pending applications, so the 90-day target may not be met. Also, in FY24, we had 9 House Bill 1964 applications completed. Now, 3 of those were late. They had some complexities that added time to the processing time, including the requirement of notice to co-owners and adjacent water right holders. In FY24, we also had 41 fast-track applications completed, and 11 out of those fast-track applications were completed past the 300-day target. Now, 73% of those fast-track applications we process were completed within the 300-day target. Of those that were not, 2 were completed very close to the 300-day target, and the remaining applications had some complexities that resulted in more extended timeframes. 3 were contested, 6 of those had notice, and 2 of those were withdrawn. For the change of ownership applications in FY24, we completed 246 change of ownership applications, and 94% of those were completed within the 90-day target. And then finally, I have some staff updates. We have a new project manager, Heather Swool, with the water rights permitting team. And we also have some vacancies. We currently have 2 hydrology positions vacant for the surface water availability team. And we have 1 program support coordinator position at the section level. And here's my contact information. You're welcome to give me a call, send me an email if you have any questions after this meeting, but I'll pause now if you have any questions right now. Okay, hearing none, I'll pass it back to, actually, over to Pepe.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to share my presentation here in a second. Okay. Good morning again. Thank you for the opportunity to share a quick update on our Water Master operations. I have a few slides to show. So we'll get started with this. First slide, this shows the different existing Water Master areas. Next, I have an update on our Water Master evaluations. We are at the final steps of the fiscal year 2024 evaluation process for the Neches and Sabine River basins. We concluded stakeholder meetings and the comment period is now closed. Findings and recommendations will be presented to the Commission on September 11 at agenda meeting. Moving on to our section update, the Water Master programs remain busy all of fiscal year 2024. The programs administer surface water use and conducted routine water rights site investigations while managing multiple water rights and surface water related complaints. In the last 3 to 4 months, suspensions and curtailments were in effect, primarily in some areas of the Concho River Water Master program, some areas in the Upper Guadalupe and San Antonio River basins of the South Texas Water Master program, also in some areas of the Leon River and its tributaries in the Brazos Water Master program. Some of these are expected to continue, but conditions have improved recently, and are expected to continue to improve due to recent rains that started last week. However, the Rio Grande Water Master Program continues to operate with unprecedented historic water storages in the Amistad and Falcon Reservoir system. Next, I have a slide on the drought monitor as of August 27, and the water master areas. Like I mentioned, drought conditions have improved in portion of the water master areas, mainly the mid to lower portions of the Brazos program, coastal areas of the South Texas program, and the lower Rio Grande. The upper Rio Grande continues to experience extreme exceptional drought conditions, as well as some areas in the South Central Texas counties and the Concho River watershed. The National Weather Service is forecasting a dry fall with La Nina conditions present in our region. However, September started with good rains across the water master areas, badly in need of rain, as I mentioned. So we're hopeful the route map will show improvement in the next couple of weeks. And that is my contact information, and that is all I have for this morning, unless y'all have any questions and comments for me. Thank you.
And that kind of brings us to the end of our update. We've got time for some general question and answer now. If anybody's got anything they didn't get a chance to ask, I do want to point out that we had an attendee ask us for more information on the petition to cancel a water right. We're still digesting that. So Ruth didn't have any more information to communicate, but what she did do was in the chat for this meeting, she went ahead and put the docket number for that item in the chat, and it's available to be able to go and take a look at in the Commissioner's Integrated Database. If you all need links to CID, we can also populate the chat with that as well. So it facilitates getting there a little easier. I'll ask now if we've got any more questions. Raise your hand, unmute yourself, speak up. Okay. Well, seeing no further questions, we'll close this out, but we will post the CID link for you all in the chat. And thanks for joining us today. And please reach out to myself or any of the staff you've seen present today if you've got questions generally or on the specific items they discussed today. Thank you very much.